Hello everyone, welcome to another inspiring episode of the SarahSpeaks Podcast. This is the place where leaders grow, entrepreneurs sharpen their edge, and purpose-driven professionals find wisdom for the journey. If you're here today, it means you belong to an exclusive set of professionals who are working to win big in their enterprise. Welcome to this inspiring episode. And today is another interesting episode where we will be speaking on the topic cash flow, the lifeblood of any business. If they say blood is the life in man, then cash flow is the life in business. It is key. Any business without consistent cash flow is a business that will not stand the test of time. Essential for business is not profit, is not reputation, not assets, but cash flow. That is the life in the business. That is the life in the business, the blood of the business, because the blood of man is the life in man. And so, the life in business is cash flow. That's the blood of business. In human physiology, blood does three things. It carries oxygen, it removes waste, it sustains life. Cash flow does the same thing in business. Fresh working capital is oxygen to your business because it enables you to grow your business. It keeps you alive. That's what fresh capital does. And when you have consistent cash flow, you are able to attract capital into your business. It removes financial strain, which is the waste in business. Because when your business has financial strain, it is at the point of collapse. But when there is cash flow, you can continue doing business. And that takes away the financial burden, the financial strain. As a businessman, you agree with me, many business people have high blood pressure when the month is coming to an end. And they look at their vast number of employees and they realize that I have to pay salaries this month end, but the cash is not there. What excuse are you going to give them? Are they going back home empty-handed? But when you have consistent cash flow, when your business is alive, those things, the strain is taken away. Peter Drucker once said, entrepreneurship is not an art or a science. It is a practice. I would like to add that cash flow is the practice that keeps your business alive, essential for a sustainable, successful enterprise. No matter how brilliant your strategy is, no matter how excellent your product is, if cash is not flowing, the business is dying. Slowly but surely, cash is the only thing that will keep your business going. Scripture emphasizes this principle in the book of Ecclesiastes. When it says that money answereth all things, it's not because money is everything. No, it is because without resources, without cash flow, you cannot meet the requirements and responsibilities of your business. And before you know it, things begin to fall apart. Good intentions collapse when there is no cash to back it up. Many entrepreneurs celebrate profits and they ignore cash flow. Oh, on paper you are making profit, you are doing very well. But there's no cash to run the business. How does that work? I really don't get it. The truth is that you can be profitable but die of cash starvation. Let me say this again and emphasize it clearly. Profit is theory. Cash flow is reality. A good example, a company sells their products on credit. On paper, they have profits, 10 million naira, but they need to restock. They don't have cash to restock. Suppliers are asking them for money, even for the things that they have bought on credit. Creditors are pulling them on every side. Yes, they've made a profit, but they do not have a cash to keep that business going. That business is going to fall when creditors begin to make a call on the business. Salaries are due tomorrow. We need diesel to run the generator right now. There are things that come up every day in your business that you need cash to be able to answer to if that business will keep running. Jesus teaches us this principle in Luke chapter 14 verse 28. When he says, which of you desiring to build a house will not first sit down and count the costs? In other words, their vision must be backed by the cash flow. Otherwise, their vision will fail. I'll tell some stories about some organizations that have had opportunity to get to evaluate to study, to know what went wrong with their business. And more often than not, it was cash flow. The bakery example. I once met a bakery owner who complained that bakery business is not profitable. His bakery had collapsed and all that. And then I began to interrogate. I began to engage. And it came out clearly that her business was actually profitable, but she was making a lot of her sales on credit. And that was where the problem was. She always had a cash flow problem because she was selling on credit. Her product was excellent. She had a good market, but she was unable to say no to people who wanted to buy on credit, even when she needed cash to restock and to do other things with her business. Rent became due. The landlord could not wait for her. She couldn't pay her suppliers and all that. And that is how a good business fell through the cracks. It failed because even gas she could not restore. She was making huge profits on paper because when you look at what she buys for and what she sells for, the margins are excellent. But there was no cash flow to sustain the business. The second story I will tell is about a tech startup, a wonderful startup, thriving, glowing media reviews, known, they were in people's faces on the internet and social media. They were actually out there and people appreciated what they were doing. The product was good, but eventually the company folded up. Why? Cash flow. Their burn rates exceeded their inflow. So they were spending quite a lot of money in product development, spending quite a lot of money talking about their product, communicating about their product, advertising what they were doing. They were spending a lot of cash. They were bringing in developers to help them with their product development. Burn rate was so high, but the inflow was so low, and that is what killed the business. The strangulation, cash strangulation, they couldn't keep running. And even in the Bible, we can look at the story of Joseph and how he saved Egypt in the day of famine, because he was able to save in the day of plenty, that when the day of famine came, Egypt was not strangulated. Egypt had a constant flow of resources. They were aflush with cash because they followed the principle. Egypt survived the famine, not because of prophecy, but because they were proactive, because they stored up cash, they stored up grain for the day of famine. I'll share a few practical principles that will help us to ensure that we have constant cash flow in our business, to keep our business alive and sustainable for the short, medium, and long-term sustainability of our enterprise. One thing we must do is shorten the cash conversion cycle. Many people sell on credit, but you must be able to have timelines on when you must get in cash. Otherwise, there must be clarity so that when you are putting in money into your business, you know exactly when you are getting returns on that investment. Otherwise, a time will come where you find out that your burn rate has exceeded your inflow, and that is suicide for any business. In simple terms, collect your money quicker. Don't allow your money stay out for so long. Another thing is that you must diversify your revenue streams. Many businesses fail because they only have one stream of revenue. You talk to the person and say, oh, I only do hair, I don't do anything more than hair. Oh, I'm a tailor, it's tailoring that I do. But if you look at all the wealthy people in the world today, they started with something. Dangote started with sugar, I believe, commodity trading. But today he's in oil and gas. Today he's in cement. Tomorrow he's in mining. Everything, any way to make money. He's even doing spaghetti, he's doing juice. Multiple streams of income. If you look at the people, the richest people in the world, they have not stayed on one product. They have diversified their income. Why do they do that? Because they need cash flow to be consistent, to be sustainable, and to be successful. Cash flow to stay alive. Number 3 is that you must not grow faster than your cash can support. Many of us grow our businesses so fast that we outgrow our cash flow, we outgrow our revenue, we outgrow our income, and then we crash land. When you are planning to expand, plan your expansion in such a way that you are not strangulated for cash flow. You don't need to have the best office. Lagos, London, Benin, Abuja, Paris, you have everywhere. But how do you sustain your operations? It doesn't come into the plan. You are more interested in the visibility. You are more interested in the accolades rather than in the sustainability of your business. I've seen people start business. You are just going into business. They go and get office space in Ikoyi. They buy Land Cruiser Prado. Say, I need to show up well, The way you show up is the way you are addressed. What is the business? What is the income you are getting from the business that will pay itself up? Have you calculated how you can get to your break-even point in such a way that you don't run out of resources and that business crashes? That's why we have a lot of closures of businesses. Businesses do not go from one generation to the other because the businesses are not viable. If you want a viable business, you must have a business that has a constant supply of cash flow, blood. When there's no blood in the human body, the person dies. The same way, when there's no cash in a business, the business dies. Expansion without cash flow is suicide. And then, keep a 6 to 12 month liquidity buffer. In your personal life, in your business, you must have resources to be able to carry that business, carry that family, carry your expenses for at least 6 to 12 months. That way, even if things are not moving as fast as you want, you can sustain the business in such a way that you do not crash land. You do not go bankrupt. The same way Joseph stored up grain in Egypt during the time of plenty, for the time of famine. The same way in your business, you must be able to store up cash to use in the time when business is slow. You do not eat with all your hands. You do not eat with both hands and your feet and everything. You must save. You must save. You must keep cash so that at the time when business is slow, there's enough cash to keep the business breathing and moving. In health, the doctors say, know your numbers. What's your blood pressure? What's your blood sugar? What's this? What's that? In business, we say, know your numbers. He that is faithful in little will be faithful in much. If you cannot keep your books when you are doing business of 1 million, 10,000, 100,000, when you move to big business, 10 million, 100 million, you will also not be able to keep your books. Business is about discipline. It's not about motivation. You need to do what it takes to keep your business going. A living business is not defined by your logo. It's not defined by your office space. It's not defined by the razzmatazz that we put around it. Say, if you see their profile book, if you see the way their office is, when you enter the office, you are wowed. That's not what defines a successful business. A successful business is defined by cash flow, your ability to meet your responsibilities, your ability to pay your bills, your ability to meet the expectations of your stakeholders. That's what defines success in business. Just like blood, if it stops flowing, the body fails. If it flows slowly, the body weakens. If it flows freely, the body thrives. It's the same thing with cash in a business. If it stops flowing, the business fails. If it flows slowly, the business struggles. And if it flows freely, the business thrives. So today, I encourage us, every business person, every entrepreneur watching me today, guard your cash flow like a life source, because that is what it is. Watch it, plan it, protect it. At the end of the day, cash flow is not just a number. It is the heartbeat of every business activity. Thank you for joining me today. If this episode blessed you, if it resonated with you, please like, share, and more than that, comment. Tell us how this episode has influenced and impacted your life. Because at the end of the day, we are on this journey together, and we are on the journey to win big together. Win with Sarah. Thank you very much. And until our next episode, keep winning, keep thriving, and be disciplined and consistent, because those are the characteristics of a successful entrepreneur. Thank you very much.